Greetings everyone, it's time for a video. In this one I'm going to take a look at diagnosing a blower control issue with this 99 Honda Passport, very old car. I've had it for a long time, almost 250,000 miles on it. Anyway, basically the problem is that if you notice, I've got the blower lever switch is set to off. And if I turn the car on, you'll see the problem almost immediately. The blower is blowing at full blast. The speed control does not work at all. As I said, you can tell pretty quickly, and that's what the problem is. I first noticed that it would start happening, and then I could drive along, and sometimes it would stop. I've gone ahead and taken the glove box off. I've looked at the service info. Basically, what they advise is either checking the lever, the fan control lever, or taking a look at this section for a short to ground somewhere. So I said, well, I don't think it's the fan control lever. I'm going to take a guess, because the only thing you're supposed to do with this is replace it. Well, that's kind of a problem. So what you end up doing is going and taking a look at here, and I'll show you something in a second. So we take a look at the circuit. You get the fan control lever. Power comes from ground, goes to the battery, goes to the relay, goes through a fuse, then runs through the blower motor itself along with this connector, and then goes through what's called the resistor, and then you go back to the lever, which of course ends up ultimately going back to ground. If you notice that position 1 is set to off, which goes directly to ground, which is a disconnect, so that there's no connection here between the resistor and off. So there's clearly, if this thing is running and off, then there's got to be an issue somewhere else, because it's off. The fan control lever isn't even involved in the circuit. So the issue is going to be somewhere around in here. What that means is there's a short potentially in one of these wires that goes right back to ground, which completes the circuit for the battery, and completes the circuit to the battery and allows the blower motor to run at full blast, which we can tell. Now this is an older style system. What that means is we don't have the transistor module like you saw if you looked at a video I put out about fixing the transistor for a blower motor on a 2007 Honda Passport. You'll see that this is an older style resistor, which means that as it adds more resistance, it puts out more, it expends more current to pass the resistance, and thus the fan itself runs at a lower speed, if I explain that right. Higher positions means less current is taken up, and in fact, if you look at the diagram here, sorry, I'm kind of getting you out of frame, it goes directly to and is basically equal to high. So that's kind of what the problem is about. So I already took the glove box off, and it's just a couple screws at the bottom, and then it pops out. And here is the connector for the resistor. Oh, sorry, the light's kind of bad. There's the connector for the resistor. This is a temperature sensor, I think. I think that goes to the evaporator coil, and the AC uses it. Now, I said, okay, I'm going to take a look and see, there's some stuff here, but I'm not seeing anything that would cause it. And it wasn't until I decided to pull the resistor out, because I wondered if whether or not it was bad, that I saw the problem. Now, I'm not going to show you, because what happens is you see some heavy-duty sparking. But back in here, you can't tell, but if you follow the wire along, there is a spark coming out, and it sparks a lot. What I'll do is I'll pull this thing out and see if I can pull out the wire and find out the exact spot where it's clearly rubbed through the insulation and it's catching. Maybe this piece here, this crossbar, or something like that. Anyway, if I get to a point where I can show you something, I'll bring you back. All right, I've been able to pull the harness out, as you can tell. It normally goes up underneath and then routes through here, and then comes along, and then it's plugged in there into the resistor, and then this other sensor as well. So clearly, I'll show you exactly where the issue is. If you see, there is a, hopefully I can, sorry about that, I cut out, hit the button by accident. Anyway, you can see right there, that is where the problem is. So where I have the screwdriver at, that's normally where the harness has been sitting. It actually shouldn't be running there. Let's see if I can show you right up here See that broken clip right here? That is the problem. There's a harness clip that's supposed to be there, and it's clearly been broken some time ago. I've had work done on this before. A long time ago, I had my blower burned out. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually broke the clip that holds its harness. So what's happened is the wire's been sitting here, and as the car drives, it jiggles and gets caught in there and has been rubbing. Let me reposition in a second. I'll show you what that's ended up doing. And by the way, that's metal, so that's ended up being a short to ground, so that's clearly going to go in the body. So hang on a second. Let me show you where the worn spot is if I can. So you can see I've got the harness. This is that worn spot. You have to imagine that piece of metal's been sitting right in there, rubbing up against it, and that is your actual short. I'm going to think about what I'm going to do about it. I really want to bust this open and pull it out, but probably what I'll do is I'll try to extract that, put maybe some liquid electrical tape, and then let that dry, and then probably try to rewrap the bundle, and then maybe get some harness. I have some harness sheathing that I can put on there, and then wrap that. And then what I'm going to do is, I've noticed, and I already experimented with this, behind this clip, which you can't really see because I lose my light, but right here I can fit the harness behind that, and hopefully that will help keep it from this happening again. I can't really fix this clip. It's broken, it's gone, there's nothing there. But I think that other thing, and then I might put some tape there and check it in a while, see if it holds. I don't really drive this car much, so I'm not really that worried about jiggling around, but that's usually what happens. Anyway, when I get to another point, I'll show you some stuff where I'm at. As you can see, I put some liquid tape on, and I'm letting it let it dry, and then I'm going to wrap it in electrical tape. And then I did find took me a bit, found my PowerBraid, and then I also found the Tesa tape that I used to go with it. So this should be sufficient, honestly, to fix it. And then I'm going to look at trying to make sure that when I run it back through there, and so that it's at least suspended and it's not rubbing like it was before on that piece of metal. As you can see now, I've wrapped it up pretty good. That's just the first step after, well, that's the next step after the liquid tape is I've wrapped an electrical tape, and I'm going to go ahead and put just a small piece of PowerBraid across there, and then I'm going to wrap that with the Tesa cloth tape. I've wrapped it. I got under here's piece of PowerBraid, and then I have Tesa tape around that. Probably overkill, honestly. I'm quite confident that this repair will last far beyond the life of this car. And then I took the spot where that normally it's going to fit in this clip and put a little tape around that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to fit that in. I'm going to take that clip though, I looked at it some more, and I think I can bend the clip back a little bit and get it to fit in and hold just right. So when I get all this done, I'll bring you back where it makes sense. All right, everything's all hooked back up, and got resistor line, this other sensor hooked up. Got it wrapped through here. I taped these two together because they were kind of loose. This is where I got it fit in, and it sits in there pretty good. And then, of course, in there, it's all taken care of now. So, all right, let's give this thing a test. Car's actually already on, and quite frankly, you can already tell it works because it's off, and there's nothing blowing. Put it on 1, it works. Hopefully, you can hear that. 2, 3, 4, off, no problems. So I'm going to put the glove box back in and put all this stuff back up, and that'll be it. Moving on to the next thing. Pretty happy with this fix. It does go to show you that even the most simple things can ultimately end up at having a problem. So in this case, it was because of this that wire harness had flipped out of the clip, or the clip is broken. I'm not really sure which, but there is a spot where I can route it through and clip it in. So it's there. I think it just was out. And over time, it's just rubbing on a piece of metal. As the car drives, that the wire was just rubbing on that metal. And it wore through just the right one for the ground, or just the right one for the power going to the blower. And it grounded it and completed the circuit for the blower, bypassing the switch completely. and ending up in the blower running all the time. And then, you know, it was one of those things where sometimes it would work fine. And the reason why is probably because it would hit a bump and it would just pull off a bit that little metal bracket that was causing it to ground and short the circuit out. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Pretty happy with the fix. And if you want, you can like, subscribe, leave a comment if there's anything kind of interesting or any comments you might have or whatever. And as always, thanks for watching.